Hey there, clarophiles and clarophilettes. In this video, I want to share with you the information that you need to intelligently test and select clarinet mouthpieces. So, without any further ado, if you're interested in that, hang on. A lot of information coming your way in the next segments. Anytime you examine anything, you already have to have a set of standards or a set of categories that you're going to use to evaluate the product or whatever it is you're examining. In the case of clarinet mouthpieces or anything on the clarinet, you're going to be examining that piece of equipment in relationship to what it produces in terms of the musical sound phrase. Now, when we think about music, we have the clarinet tone, or just a musical tone itself, and inside the musical tone, intrinsic to it, we find three primary elements: pitch or tuning, the color of the sound, and the shape of the sound. These are going to be useful categories in helping us evaluate mouthpieces. Now, behind our nose, we also have two things that are not heard but are very important to us as clarinet players, and that is the feel that we have of response and resistance. So, response and resistance behind our nose, out there that the ears can hear, pitch, color, and shape. And there's one other element that's very important, and that is the stability of pitch, color, and shape in dynamic changes. So all those things are going to be very valuable to us in order to evaluate and test mouthpieces. So, having said that, let's get right on with it and begin to talk about our first element, pitch. Many people are unaware that clarinet mouthpieces vary wildly in their tuning, and even within certain brands, tuning varies quite a bit. Take, for instance, the Van Doren mouthpiece, the 5RV or the B45, and compare it to the M15 or the M13 or any of those M models. If you say take each of those mouthpieces and you just play an open G on your clarinet, nothing else changes, just the mouthpieces, what you would find is there would be maybe 15 or 20 cents or more difference in the tuning of those mouthpieces. Why is this? It's because the volume inside the mouthpiece varies quite a bit. The M15, the M13 has a lot more volume than the standard Van Doren. In fact, the standard Van Doren is more or less a 442 mouthpiece. And Van Doren finally advertised the M13 and M15 as what they called 440 American pitch. So by inference, you say, well, if that's 440 American pitch, then what's Van Doren been giving us all these years in the 2RV and the 5RV and the B45? And what they've been giving us is basically a mouthpiece that will play 442 European pitch. But if you like the sound of the M13, let's say you play in a band, make sure that that mouthpiece is going to play high enough so you can actually reach the pitch level of your band. Because most bands, especially made with younger players and high school bands, most of them play a little bit above 440. So either you're going to be playing flat or you'll have to get a shorter barrel in order to play up to pitch. But pitch is an extremely important thing to test. So make sure that whatever organization you're playing in, make sure that your mouthpiece is going to test out so that you can actually play in tune. Some mouthpieces are very sharp if you're playing in a low-pitched organization, say an orchestra that really holds the pitch down to 440, you may have a lot of problems playing a higher pitched mouthpiece. How do you know which is which? You have to test. And when you test the different models of mouthpieces, different brands, you're going to find that when you play, say, just an open G and make no other changes, you're going to find that the pitch levels are going to change quite a bit. One of the things you have to watch out for when mouthpieces are particularly low-pitched is you'll end up with flat throat tones in relationship to the rest of the horn. So that, again, you could be playing, say, maybe in tune at 440, but your throat tones would end up flat with a mouthpiece that is excessively large in terms of its bore and the excavation within the baffle. So that's another thing that you have to be concerned with. And of course, with higher pitched mouthpieces, your mouthpiece could play quite sharp. Overall, play up to 442 or maybe even higher if you're playing U.S. pitch and English pitch and so on. But then when you look at the throat tones, you'll find that they're really quite sharp. And so some of that can be cured by pulling the barrel, but you really have to test pitch sensitively and test it with consistency. Let me recommend that whenever you pick a mouthpiece, don't ever buy a mouthpiece unless you test it for pitch and make sure that it's going to work with your organization or the groups that you play in. We at Ridden Our Clarinet Products produce these videos to help educate players and educators about the clarinet and clarinet equipment. If you have been helped by the information in this and other RCP presentations, please subscribe and be sure to share it with your friends and teachers. Thanks for listening.